So, little guy, what can you hope to achieve? That's a good answer. Nice. What can you hope to achieve? I've had to ask myself that plenty of times in the past couple months. It's easy for us to get swept up in the big picture, forgetting the pieces that go into it. Instead of trying to do it one step at a time, we find ourselves trying to tackle it all at once. Responsibility builds up, and sometimes instead of confronting it, people resort to escapism. Now, escapism in a vacuum isn't evil, but when it clouds your vision to those around you, you can start to lose yourself. Sometimes it's better to look at the world with a set of little eyes. Eyes that change the weight of things as simple as household chores. So then, what can this robot do? He can start from the ground floor. Happiness starts from the ground up, don't you think? Last video we've kind of focused more on the big scale part of things, making a star out of love. But here we're going to be working backwards down Maslow's hierarchy. And we're going to start right smack dab in the middle with belonging. So the core goal of Chibi Robo is to make this family happy, to accrue happiness points through acts of kindness, through cleaning the house, things like that. But despite being this robot programmed for specifically this, Chibi Robo side rails very often to just help anything that's in front of him. For a character with no voice lines, he comes across as very noble. The story of this house is one that feels like it was alive without Chibi Robo being there. And now we're just seeing through his eyes these eccentric characters, this family, and you start connecting the dots. All the meanwhile, you're mending these relationships by picking up some trash. But how does that fit into the bigger picture? What's the premise of the story? How do the pieces go together? So what does Chibi Robo do to help with this family's problems? What does he do for the toys? What do they do for themselves? Let's start with the past first. Before Chibi Robo, the Sandersons had Giga Robo, a robot from the same company, providing similar functions. This is about 10 years before Chibi Robo comes into the picture, but a combination of him being too costly to recharge and Mr. Sanderson losing his job, they end up leaving him in the basement, unable to afford to recharge him. In the time that he was in the household, he became beloved by all who lived in it. Mr. and Mrs. Sanderson clearly missed him, and the toys had stories to share of his benevolence. Pretty big shoes to fill for Chibi Robo. But he doesn't worry too much about it. He finds his own pace almost immediately upon entering the house. As he meets the toys and gets to know the Sandersons, he very naturally defaults to helping out where he can. He checks up on the family, cleans up a little bit, and digs up some bones. It's a good reminder that most of the time people don't want you to move the world for them. Sometimes listening is enough, and action can just take the form of a little nudge. Now let's actually answer this. What does Chibi Robo do? Well, that depends on who you ask. Entertainment? Someone to talk to? A helping hand? A wingman? A sidekick? A soldier? A pep talker? But if I had to say most importantly, a friend. Yes, this little robot integrates himself very well into this house full of strange characters. He even puts it upon himself to bring back Giga Robo. Just by doing simple tasks, he motivates others around him. He reinvigorates an old pirate by bringing him his ship. Brings nectar to a bear. Let's just pretend it's honey. Cures a princess's frightfulness. He even works especially well as a middleman. Sometimes the people you're close to are the hardest to talk to. You don't want to hurt their feelings or risk disappointment, and that can lead to avoidance entirely. So Chibi-Robo doesn't necessarily tell the Sandersons what needs to be done to make things better. He simply bridges a communication gap that's been building. And that to me highlights the specific strength that he holds. He's not some motivational speaker, he's not a couples therapist, he's aware and available. When you take that moment to look around and take in the things that surround you, you can start to see the form of the puzzle and how your piece can bring it all together. Because big or small, there's always something that you can bring to the table that no one else can. What does this look like in practice? How does Chibi-Robo help in a way that the others can't? There is a simple example of him being the only one small enough to properly climb the castle to give the princess her shoe. But maybe a more unique one that'll make all of you who study this language very happy to know. But after a little upgrade, he's able to understand alien. Now this doesn't get around the fact that he can't speak, but he can understand them. But despite his power, Chibi-Robo can't do everything himself. In his journey to save Giga-Robo, he opens an old briefcase of Mr. Sanderson's past work. You might be surprised to know at this point that Mr. Sanderson was a robotics engineer. If I had to guess, he probably went into the profession thinking he would eventually get to work on some kind of Gundam. Anyways, this briefcase has Giga-Robo's left leg, one of the parts that's missing to bring Giga-Robo back. But it also has Mr. Sanderson's greatest work and the reason he quit his job. The Spy Doors, a robot line made by a separate company than Chibi-Robo. Now, this is really the only enemy type you encounter throughout the game, but the ones that come out of the briefcase are these bulked up versions. And with Chibi-Robo's standard blaster, you can't really do anything to them. But Mr. Sanderson, brushing up on his old skills again, brings out a soldering iron and gets to work on upgrading it. See, he has it in him, he just needed a life-threatening situation to bring it out. With that teamwork, the two of them are able to save the house and their family. And of course, this alone isn't enough to fully mend a family that's been going through these hardships. But through a culmination of acts, you can feel there is a rebuilding happening. And really, is there any more to ask for? An environment where effort, even if silent, can grow into something much larger, where everyone and everything feels significant.
Alright, pal, we'll just plug you in, right?
Love and belonging are built on increments. But so is neglect, which is just as equally a choice that is made. Just as this game teaches you, victory can take the form of repair. If you're willing to pick up the pieces, if you're willing to start over again, then all that's left from there is love. Because even when effort goes unnoticed, it is always felt. Sure, improvement can be visible, but progress is immeasurable. And through your every action, this progress is built. The only way this can hurt you is if you aren't being honest with yourself. Everyone has a role in life. What matters most is that it's complete or lived in. It doesn't have to be big or loud, as long as it's you, a culmination of everything you've learned, a culmination of the little things. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a good Christmas, good winter solstice, happy holidays, happy new year, and just a good wrap up for 2025. Because of the holidays, I'm gonna have to move the Shadow of the Colossus stream for Saturday, and I'll be taking the first week of January off, at least for uploads. I'm working on next month already. This month has felt like a good proof of concept for me, but definitely expect some upgrades coming up next month. So stick around. This is only the beginning. So, where does it all lead? What is it that these little things build toward? Because the little things don't just go away, they stay with us, quietly becoming the ground we stand on. Before we get there, though, we have to look at what's been holding us up all along, the places we return to, the people who shape us, the foundations we don't always notice, the start of what we are.